Hi guys, here's another episode of the Miss Meyer Show, and today what we're going to talk about is economics and how they affect us. We're kind of switching a little bit from what we usually talked about, but remember if you were in last class, you know that I said that we're going to talk more and more about things that are pertaining to the leap to get you guys as ready for the leap as possible. So the first thing that we're going to discuss is opportunity cost. That's right. So what opportunity cost is basically saying what you're giving up to get something else. Okay? So like let's use an example. Let's see. I have one. All right. My husband and my kids and all of us, we were supposed to go to Disney World for Thanksgiving. That's where we're headed. We had everything set aside to do that. We got all the money. It was going to cost us about $4,000 because I'm a family of 5 now, and we couldn't stay in a regular hotel room. We had to stay in the suites, so that's more money. And we had to get the meal plan, the 7-day park hopper, the staying at the hotel is the majority of it. We were driving, but it was still going to be ridiculously expensive. And so came around to go buy my tickets, and I called up the Disney people, and I was talking on the phone to them, and I was getting ready to do that, and my husband was like, do you just want to pay off the car? Because we just had that left. And I said, that's something we need to think about. That was an opportunity cost. I could have used that money that I was going to go to Disney World with and pay off my car and not have a car note, or I could use that money and go to Disney World. So that's an opportunity cost. An opportunity cost is something you're going to give up in order to get something. What did I choose? You might think you might know the answer, but you're wrong, I bet. I chose to pay off my car and said, let's try to go to Disney World this summer. Also, we're trying to move, so we've got a lot of issues that are coming up where I can't really spend a ton of money for 5 days. I just can't see that. As much as I love Disney World, I can't spend thousands of dollars for a 6-day vacation. I can't do that. That's crazy to me. So another opportunity cost would be like if you, I don't know, let's say not that any of you would do this, but let's just say your parents told you couldn't go out. You wanted to go hang out with your friends, and your parents said, no, you can't do that. And you went anyway. You're giving up, and you went out, your mom caught you, and you're in big trouble. Your opportunity cost, what you gave up to go out, even though you were told you couldn't go, was your freedom, and now you're punished. I never did that kind of stuff when I was your age, guys. I was too scared of my mom. Even till this day, I'm scared of my mom. You don't want to mess with your mama. Not with my mama. You might want to mess with your mama, but don't mess with my mama. Even my kids are scared of her. Okay, so that's opportunity cost. The next thing, and I'm sorry guys, I'm going to take off my jacket because it's hot in here. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is scarcity of resources. See this? Look. I still love you. Still black and gold forever. Black and gold, baby. Black and gold. Even though we're not in the playoffs, still a big fan. So the next thing we're going to talk about is scarcity. And what scarcity is meaning less resources, when we don't have as much of a thing. Something that that's kind of scarce today. Somebody had mentioned to me in the last class I was showing that my daughter has an iPad, and somebody in the last class said, wow, you must have a lot of money. That's not the case whatsoever. I am a teacher. I don't have a lot of money. What I do is I'm one of those crazy people that stand outside of Walmart and Target and Best Buy on Black Friday so that I can get the cheapest price available for the iPads. Now, why is there that huge line? I mean, I was behind the buildings. And I waited in the cold to get some Christmas presents. it's a scarcity of resource. They don't have a lot of them. They didn't have a lot of iPads. Then I was lucky to get two. I got two. But that's a scarcity. There's scarce resources. Kind of like when we don't have a lot of gas. In the 1980s, way before you guys were born, I was a little baby. Maybe not. I was born in 81, so it depends on what time period of the 80s you were talking about. I was a little girl. There was a shortage of gas. There was a scarcity of gas. And gas prices shot way, way high. And that kind of has to go with like supply and demand.
Effective today, Chevron increased the wholesale price of a gallon of its fuel by 1.5 cents in Tennessee and 2 cents in Georgia. But Chevron isn't alone. Further increases are anticipated by other major companies within the next few days. What does all this mean at the pump? TV12 asked John Thompson, local distributor for Chevron.
Normally that means the same amount of increase. Chevron doesn't have any company-operated stations in this area, but normally the dealers who set their own prices will raise the same amount that the wholesale price raises.
We also asked Thompson what the outlook for the future is, both in terms of pricing and product availability.
I see a continued steady rise unless there is a disruption in the Mideast, which greatly or almost totally influences our pricing structure today. I think we're going to live with changes in supply that will go from what some people term as a surplus. Right now we're in a very mild stage of surplus, but that could change overnight with a disruption in the Mideast again, or any disruption in supply from foreign sources.
Now, another scarcity of resources is like certain areas are scarce. I'm recording this. My nanny has just left the house a little while ago. I had just gotten back from my outing with maybe some of you were there. I don't think any 8th graders were there, but I just went to the outing, and the nanny left, and now I'm left with you know who down here making the noises. Yeah. And she's got wild and crazy hair today. Just crazy hair. All right, so scarcity, like I was saying, there are certain areas who have less things than other areas. Areas like, I don't know, Louisiana, we don't have a lot of like grain here in Louisiana. We don't have that. So we would need to get it from some other place. Some other places may not have tobacco like we have it. They may not have sugar like we have it. So when there are scarcity of resources, there's trading that goes on. My neighbor right next door, she's got a little boy who's about 4 years old, and there's doing this thing at school where they had to wear like this weird crazy shirt, and she didn't have an item that I did. So, and she had an item that I wanted, so I just swapped with her and changed to that. So we worked with our scarcity of resources. We did not have them. Okay. Comparative advantage. That's the next thing that we're going to talk about. This kind of describes when a country is able to produce a product at a lower price than other countries. Kind of like, look at anything in your house, okay? What do I have here? I have a sippy cup. Let's see where it's made. Made in China. It's a bottle. Let's see where it's made. Made in China. Let's see what else we have. Here's my jacket. Let's see where it's made. Made in China. What does that tell you? I'm sorry, Tigger, I just threw the jacket right on top of him. That tells you it's cheaper to make products in China. Now, it's really hard. Hold on, Vivian's calling somebody. No. Here. She was calling somebody. She called the nanny the other day, and the nanny called me back. She said, "Do you need me to come over?" I said, no, Vivian just called you. So, all right. So I want you to look around, see how hard it is to find something that's actually made in the United States. And if you find something that is made in the United States, chances are it's going to be more expensive than clothing or some items that is made in another country. So let's just see. Here's Vivian. Let's see, she's wearing a little romper here from Gymboree. And Gymboree is a kind of more of an expensive baby store. Okay, so let's just see. This is made in Thailand. Okay, but still, I mean, if you buy something that's made in America, where we have a scarcity of resources, we don't have a ton of the resources that they do in China, especially for making materials. Therefore, it costs more money for us to buy items that are made in America rather than an item that is made somewhere else. Okay? So let me see. Let me go grab and see if I can give you an example of what I'm talking about. Okay, so because I'm, live in a house filled with kids, the majority of things that I have are toys. So I have two examples here to show you. This is a toy that Vivian got from Santa Claus, and it's a little airplane, and it, what is this, propeller moves, and it makes different noises and things like that. Lights up. It's really cute. It cost me $10. $10. Now, granted, I did buy it on Black Friday, but that's how much it cost me, $10. And it is made in China. That's where this is made. It's $10. I bought these from a store here in New Orleans called Zuka Baby. It's one of my favorite stores. And these are what is called chew beads. And it's really for the mom to wear, not really for the baby. But the mom wears it on their neck when you are holding the baby in like a carrier or a wrap. And the baby plays with them. And they can chew on them. It's, and it's real safe. And it's just $27 for the chew beads. These were made in America. Do you see the difference? Because we have a scarcity of some of these resources. It's much easier for us to get items from China and to pay a lot less because they have more of that resource. And then you pay more for something like the chew beads that are made here in the United States because we have a scarcity of resources. Okay, the same thing goes with organic food. I try to buy as much organic food as I can. And you're going to pay more. You're going to pay more for the organic food because there's not as much of it. And there's a scarcity of resources. If every farmer grew their food to be organic, then yeah, we would pay less. But because there are not as many organic farms, you're going to pay more for that. That's just a scarcity of resources. Same thing with milk. Oh my gosh. Organic milk is so expensive compared to and regular milk's expensive, but organic milk is even more expensive. Okay, supply and demand, and that's what we talked about last class. But supply and demand are basically what fuels our whole economic market. That's really what it does. Let me show you this. I'll be back in 1 second. I'm going to show you supply and demand. Who you calling? Let go. Who are you calling? Okay, Vivian, stop. You're calling. So I gave Vivian gave her my phone to play with. That's a bad idea because look who she was calling, if you guys can see. Jara knocking. Don't call anybody. Okay. So, she's calling Miss Knockan. If the phone rings, it's Knockan wondering what's going on. All right. So I went to the grocery last week, and I going through all the aisles, and I have 5 people in my house, and my husband is over 350 pounds. He's a big dude. Big dude. So it costs a lot to feed my family. It really does. So I'm going through the grocery, and all of a sudden I see these. Now, I usually would not buy something like this for my kids, only because it's got enriched flour, corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, which I never give them. Just things like that I would just usually never buy that. But they were 50 cents a box. 50 cents a box. So the nanny who comes here and watches Vivian for me during the day, she always she goes in my pantry, to get some food or something, and she's always like, oh, there's all this gross stuff in here. I don't want, it's so nasty. I'm not eating anything here. So I figure if I buy these, maybe she'll eat these and she'll be happy with them. But they were 50 cents. Why would you buy this? Why do you think it was 50 cents? It's 50 cents because no one is buying them. They had boxes and boxes and boxes of them. Now, granted, they expire March 15th of this year, so their expiration date is reaching. But, and also this obviously was not a big seller. So this is an example of supply and demand. There's not a big demand for these, obviously, and the supply is really high, so the price was at 50 cents. I don't know what a usual Pop-Tart box is, like $2 or something like that, so that's really a huge decrease in price. Okay? Now when there is an increase of demand for something, when there's a lot of people who want something, the price goes up. So, like, for example, let me see what I got around me. That increase in demand. I have this. Oh, well, I showed y'all the Furby in the class because that was a big demand. But I have the iPad. That's a big demand. There's a huge demand for the iPad, especially the iPad Air, which this is not. This is one of the old iPads. But because there's a huge demand people are willing to pay more money. They're willing to pay more for it. Okay? So what we're going to talk about next is... hold on. Let me grab it. Because I do have it open here. I'm looking at it here. We're talking about the risks of Quiet in the back! Thank you. We're talking about entrepreneurship. And that is when you are trying to start a business. How many of you out there want to start a business? My husband wants to open a cigar shop in New Orleans. I personally don't think that's a very good idea. I don't think it would do well. 50% of businesses, or probably more than that, fail within their first couple of years, and I really believe that a cigar shop would be one of them. But what entrepreneurship is the opening of this business. And when you become an entrepreneur and open your business, you assume risks in the hope of getting a return. Now, what a risk is taking, really the biggest one is to take responsibility for financial issues. You've got to get a loan. Most people need a loan. If you don't, then good for you. But, God, that's good. You would need a loan to open up your business, maybe to get your supplies, to advertising, things like that. And that's a risk. You're risking a huge financial risk in the hopes of getting a return. A return would be in the form of money, a monetary return. You're hoping you're going to make money. So let's say my husband did open this cigar shop. She sees a picture of herself on the iPad. Let's just say he opened this cigar shop. He would have to get the money to buy the cigars. He would have to find a place, like rent a building. He would have to maybe pay employees. He'd need to have insurance. He'd need to get, advertising to get his name out there. That all costs money. And he's hoping for a return. He's hoping that he's going to make money. And if he doesn't make money, his business fails. So one of the key concepts of our economic structure of the United States is entrepreneurship. There are so many, think of it. Think of all the people that have come to this country and started little small businesses and they have exploded. Look at Apple, McDonald's, the Disney, things like that. Clothing people, Ralph Lauren, things like that. They have just exploded. Microsoft, Windows, Apple. Did I say Apple already? I can't remember. But those are all little businesses. They assumed risks in the beginning and had great returns. Now, on the other hand, there are businesses that fail, that don't get the returns. We see JCPenney is getting ready to close. Red Lobster is getting ready to close. Maison Blanche, I don't know if y'all remember that store. But those all took financial risks and did not get the returns back. So entrepreneurship is... Entrepreneurship is based on risks and return. Okay, we're going to go over now, before we end, the four factors of production. And these factors must be present for a producer to meet the needs and wants of a consumer. And we're going to do a project with this class on Tuesday. Well, we probably might do it. Yeah, we'll do it on Tuesday. We'll do it on Tuesday. Okay? The four factors are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Land is your natural resources and property. That's your land. Your labor is your work done by the people. Your capital is your equipment, your like tools and machinery. There's human capital, like the knowledge of your employees. And finally, there's entrepreneurship. And that's the managerial skills to organize all of that stuff. When you're going to create a product, you need those four things. You need the land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. So if Mr. Meyer is going to start open up a cigar business, which I really would, that's a bad idea, but he would need land. He said he wants to open it in the French Quarter. So our land would be some area in the quarter. Labor. He thinks I'm going to work there. So I would be his labor, which I would not. Because he said, you can teach and work there. No dice. Capital. That would be the machines he would need to make the cigars, my knowledge. Vivian's going to work there as well. She's going to be an employee just like me. And we would need entrepreneurship. Just the ability to make these, the drive, the willingness to risk something in a hopes that we would get a return. So without those four things, you're not going to have a product, or you're not going to have that. So what we're going to do in class is we're going to have you guys create your own product using these four examples. So that's all I've got for you today. I hope you had a great time at listening to this Looney Tune baby. It doesn't seem like I'm able to do these Miss Meyer shows. Listen to this. With much success lately. So I will definitely be seeing you guys soon. Have an excellent weekend, and hope you enjoy your extended break. Bye.